Morning, decorators of the interweb. Today I've got a very interesting video for you about painting a wall. Give us a thumbs up, comments, press the bell, smash that like button please. That done, right, joking apart, really interesting video about painting a wall. You're going to go, I know all about painting a wall. If you know how to paint a wall, you don't need to watch this video. There's plenty of people that do need some expert tips on how to paint a wall correctly and like a pro. Focus you. So let's talk about what I've done so far. The wall behind me, behind the steps there, was bare plaster. What I've done over the last few weeks on this job, because it's a very big job we're on, multi-million-pound build, lovely house, no expense spared, it's been done properly. What we've done, bare plaster, everything's been sprayed with Optiva primer, just slightly thinned down. I've spoke about spray painting in previous videos, but we're not spray painting now, we're talking about rolling the wall. So everything's been sprayed with Optiva primer onto the bare plaster. All the ceilings have then been sprayed with anti-reflex too. They're all finished. I've got round this woodwork this week, that's been sprayed, that's been bare tulip wood, been brought up with 2 coats of Helmi primer, and then finished with Helmi 30 satin finish. These have been mixed to Farrow colours. Shh! Mixed to Farrow colours. Shh! It's a near match. Customer's happy with the near match. So where we are at the moment, we're going around the walls. I'll just spin you around so you can see. What I did yesterday, I cut in and roll the walls after everything's been sprayed. But you've got to do your preparation. You can't just go in straight off, rolling and cutting in your walls. What I do, I go around all the walls with the Merca, which is over that shoulder there. So on the bare plaster, I go over with a Merca with a fine grade, probably about a 120 grade grit on the Merca. Go over all the bare plaster walls first. That takes off any plasterers, splashes, and also the dust that might be sitting on the surface. That helps me to then get the wash coat on. So the wash coat goes on, that dries, I go back over it with the Merca just to nib anything down, and then you can see where there's any imperfections in the wall. You go around then with some fine surface filler. What I use is the Tickerilla, and it's the Presto F. Now this seems really good stuff because it dries quite quickly, it's not too gritty, it's already pre-made in a tub. It seems to go a long way. When I go around, any imperfections, just skim them out as clean as you possibly can so you haven't got loads of rubbing down to do. Once that's done, you let them dry. You can just give them a little bit of a sand down with a bit of sandpaper, or go back over with your Merca, and then you're ready to actually paint the wall. Now before you start painting the wall, any of your bits of filler, just go around with a brush with some paint on, touch them in. It's called spot priming, because what you don't want to happen is paint the wall, then you look at the wall and you can see where the filler's been. So if you spot prime where the filler's been, you shouldn't have that problem. But don't forget, you're giving it 2 coats. So those areas where there's been filler is actually having 3 coats. Right, now we're talking to the Phil Beckwith, the professional decorator, extreme painting of a wall. And I know you're going to say it's extreme, but it's extreme to the point that it's all been priced for, it's all been quoted for, it's all been accepted by the customer. And this is why we're doing it like we are, because they want high-end painting and decorating. Now this is where I'm going to point at you and say, are you on the next level of painting and decorating? Let me tell you the next level of painting and decorating. And it starts here. Right, thumbs up. This wall. This is the wall. I'm going to show you there. You can't see it just yet. This is the wall that I'm going to show you how to paint properly. Now, I've discussed with you what I've done. Ceiling, skirting, wash coat, which was sprayed. Nibbed it all down, used the Merca. Now, the colour that's going on this wall and behind me in that recess area there, you'll see it, behind me in there, is going to be a deep green. Now I know the deep green is easily a 3-coat green. So what I've done, because the walls were white, because it was Optiva primer in white, I've put a coat, because I've got some spare Optiva 5, which is your scrubbable matte. Still a matte finish, but hardware and extreme paint. This is not cheap paint, it's good quality paint. We don't use cheap paint. What I've done, I put a coat on this wall of, it's actually elephant's breath, which is quite a dark colour. So there, it's quite a dark colour. So yesterday what I did, I went round all the walls in the other colour, which is Joe's white, again, mixed into Tickerel Optiva 5. But that wall there, because I know it's going to be a deep green, I've put a coat of elephant's breath on it, because I didn't want the deep green going over a white and making it hard for myself. So that's quite a dark colour that's gone on. And what I've done, I've got that on yesterday, so today I can get the green on. Possibly 2 coats, I might only get 1 coat on and leave it to dry for the next day. It's always better to give 1 coat, leave it as long as possible before you put your next coat on. So it's all simple stuff. If you already know this, you'll have zipped to the end to see how it finishes, or you've stopped and you're watching one of my other videos, hopefully. Don't forget, comments, thumbs up, press the bell, smash the like button. Joking apart again, right, we're talking to people who probably don't know how to cut in and roll a wall professionally. Probably find it really hard to do painting and decorating. I'm going to tell you how I do it, a professional way of doing it. This is my 31st year of being a painter and decorator. Back in 1990, I left school, started at college, started working for my father, did my apprenticeship, and away I went. I've not looked back since. I'm back with you. We're talking about this wall. So it's had a base coat, in effect, of Optiva 5, which is over the top. That's extreme. It is extreme, because why would I be putting Optiva 5 on? It's not a cheap paint. I'm putting Optiva 5 on because I know that that wall wants a little bit more preparation with some fine surface filler. The Optiva 5 won't take the moisture in of the filler and dry out too quickly when I do some fine surface filling, and I'll show you that fine surface filling in a minute. But I've also sanded it back down again with the Mercer. So we've done sanding of the bare plaster wall with a Mercer, we've wash coated it, we've put another sanding pad over it just to knock anything off. We've gone straight over with the... Sorry, just got held up. You'll notice the steps have disappeared because the security guy's borrowing the steps. He's just round the corner and he's listening to me, probably laughing his head off, but this is what it's like to be a blogger and a YouTube influencer. I think the word's influencer. Influencer. Yeah, I'm a YouTube influencer, let's call it that. Right, back to this wall. Extreme painting the wall. We've gone through the process of priming, we've put a coat of the Optiva 5 on. Extreme, that's what we're saying, extreme. Everything's been nibbed down with the Mercer, or even, I've got here, this is a roller pole with one of those sanding pads. I sometimes go over the walls just when I want a fine nib down with one of these. Swivel head, it's brilliant. You get very little dust off it when you're just nibbing down, but I sometimes use that. So what I've done, I was telling you, we've gone over some filler, oh, you can't see it there. We've gone over some cracks that are just showing through with the fine surface filler. That's all nicely dried off. What I'll do, I'll just hand sand those down when I come to them because they've been scraped off quite cleanly. But what I'm going to be just telling you now is the tools that I've got for painting a wall, and this is where it gets really interesting, and we like really interesting YouTube videos on painting a wall. So we've got a roller, yay, we've got a brush, yay, we've got a mixing stick, and when I say a mixing stick, a proper mixing stick, not a garden cane, not a piece of pipe, it's got to be a proper stick. You can't mix paint with something that's aerodynamically rounded and smooth. It doesn't mix your paint properly. Use a proper mixing stick. See it, what is it? Inch by 18 inches. Mixes the paint properly. Right, next thing you're going to need. Paint scuttle. I call it a roller bucket. So if I say roller bucket, you know what I'm on about. It's a paint scuttle. Right, we use a roller bucket. You can get quite a lot of paint in that, and when you're doing big jobs, you don't want to be using roller trays or even the bigger roller trays where you're having to keep topping it up all the time. You want a proper roller bucket, paint scuttle. Look at the size of that. You get easily 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 litres of paint in there. So that's what we'll use to fill up with paint. And what I'm using at the moment for cutting in, you either have a paint bucket, which is normally a plastic tub that's probably had filler in it before. I'm using the Helmy undercoat tubs. Wash them out, they're plastic. I can use it for emulsioning. When I've had enough, it can be binned. I've got quite a few of these on the go. I've also got 5 litre size plastic paint tubs, whatever you want to call them, for emulsioning. Never work out a paint tin. Amateurs work out of paint tins. If you work out of a paint tin, the handle is not long enough for you to work to get your paint out. And also, if you knock over 5 litres of paint, you've knocked over 5 litres of paint, and you'll know you've knocked over 5 litres of paint. If you're only working out of one of these, if you're only filling it up with a litre and a half of paint, you're not going to be knocking that over very easy. It's not going to go everywhere. You're not going to worry if you spill some of this. So these are the tools I've got. I'll just talk about roller sleeve. Right, these are the Axis roller sleeves. It's got the grey. They're a little bit longer than normal. These are more for an uneven surface. I won't say smooth, but I find that they hold the paint really well. And when you're doing flat walls, as long as you've thinned your paint and your paint's not too thick, over the surface it will dry out nice to a nice finish. It's not too orange peely. We don't want too much orange peel. If you've got a sheepskin roller or a long pile roller, you'll find that the paint will dry on the surface and give you more of a textured orange peel finish. Lose your focus. There. So get something nice roller sleeve, not too long, not too short. You don't want orange peel. And when you come to roll, obviously don't over roll it. So for now, we're all set to go. Anybody can paint, can't they? Roller bucket, paint tub, brush, and a roller. Was it a roller and a brush? The other thing you'll probably need, depending on the size of your wall, roller pole. This is just a decent roller pole, expandable, lifesaver. What I will touch on is when you're buying a roller frame and a roller pole, get the one that screws in. There you go, it screws in. Tighten it on. That's not going to come off. I've found over the years, if you just get the push fit ones that jam onto the top, by the time you've rolled it into your roller bucket, it starts working loose and then it can drop off. So get the ones that screw in, pay a bit more, get a decent one. These roller frames, they're Fat Hog. These are a Fat Hog one. These are very nice, not too expensive. When they've broke, you get a new one. But I've had these years, so don't worry, they're not going to break on you straight away. Spins nicely, and that's it. So for now, let's call it a day. I'll give it a thumbs up, and then I'll come back to you when I've got the paint in the paint scuttle, paint bucket, whatever we want to call it, and then I'll show you what the process is for cutting in around the top, cutting in around the bottom. Let's try and follow that line round. I'm not going to be able to do it. Follow that line round, and I'll show you what we do and how we do it. So thumbs up, comments, smash the like button. Speak to you later. Just quickly, I know people will ask me, because comments below, what brushes do we use for cutting in? To get focused in a bit better. I've got these. Picked them up at the painting and decorating show that they do at Coventry. Right, these are Ecoezee brushes. Obviously a bamboo handle. You've got a handle. I'll explain it. You've got a handle. You've got a ferrule, that's the metal part. You've got the bristles. Now that part there of the bristles is called the length out. Your stock is the part that's down at the base into your ferrule. Now what's nice about these, they're actually quite soft. They're like a hammered, flagged tip end. Now they wash out really nicely. They're ideal for water-based paints. Now this is beautiful because it's a 2.5 inch. It's nothing too big. I don't want to be working with a 4 inch cutting in. I need a little bit of control. So this is a 2.5 inch. They also do a 3 inch. I've not got a 3 inch just with me at the moment, but a 3 inch is nice and a 2.5 inch is nice. So briefly, we're now painting the tub. Right, when you've got some paint in there, work from one side of the kettle. That's a big amateur mistake. Working from both sides of the kettle, they might be slapping it from side to side, wiping it down off every side. We don't want to do that. We want to be professional. We want to look like we're a professional because we are a professional. Right, work from one side of the kettle. You put your brush in the paint, dead easy. Just tap it. Rotate your brush around, just tap it one side. Then you can wipe it down on one side of the kettle, keeping the other side clean. So when you come to put your brush on the top, you're not getting paint all over the handle. One side of the kettle, keep your hands clean. I don't get a lot of paint on my hands, don't get a lot of paint on my clothes. Work from one side of the kettle, then once you've wiped it all out, let it dry. With your other tubs you've got, come back to the next day. It's nice, you can work from the opposite side and rotate it round. But no, if you're asking me what brushes I'm using, these are the Ecoezee. What I'll do, I'll put a link below on the website. I think you can buy them from Tickerilla as well. But I'll put a link in, and then if you want to get a brush like this, you can do. By the way, this isn't a paid sponsorship or anything. I'm just telling you what I'm using because people do ask me or private message me, what brushes do we use? So that's that for now. I'll come back in a minute, tell you about the wall. Right, we're getting ready to get some paint on the wall. What I'll do now, because all good decorators got to put some overalls on, because there's nothing worse than being covered in paint. Doesn't look good to the customer if you're working in tracksuit bottoms or jeans and stuff with no overalls on. So I'll get my overalls on, then I'll just show you these walls, what I've done prepping them, ready for the paint. So just give us a minute. I use shield overalls, really nice as well. So you can see that, got my jeans on. The word is overalls, and they go over your clothes you're wearing. And then what I do at the end of the day, I take them off. I can get in my car, I can get in the van. I'm not going to be getting any paint over anything. Keep everything clean. Overalls, that's the word. I feel like Nick Cayman on that Levi jean advert. All good to go, look. Got my overalls on, so I'm going to disembowel you now. Disconnect you from the stand. I'm just going to show you. Right. Let's hold you. Let's get you focused. Back with you. Back once again with the Renegade Master. Yay. Right. Telling you about this wall. Did some fine surface filling. Can you just see that? What I'm going to do. This is the wall I'm going to show you how to paint properly. Let me just take you on these other walls that are the same. Now, to the decorator, the worst light situation you could possibly ask for is when downlighters are put close to the wall, shining down walls. It highlights every imperfection on plastering. Now, I'm not a plasterer. I'm not here to rectify bad plastering other than just to make it look visually improved. So yes, I do go over with a Merca. I do go over with the fine surface filling to get them better, but I'm not here to make these walls perfect. That's not my job. If they want perfect walls, they can get a plasterer who does a better job, but to be fair, these aren't too bad. What I've done, I've already Merca'd them like I've said before. Can you see these lights? Imperfections all the way around. It'll show everything up. We've got a lovely chandelier that I've bagged up that's fibre optic. I'll take some photos of that and probably add them to the end if I've got time. But now you see where I've filled around there, a bit around the sockets. When you go around, just go with a bit of sandpaper on your walls, just go around the angles. So that's where I am. We've got Merca'd, we've got a bit of filling. I'll go over it again. People say you're going over it. I'll go over it because it'll make you remember it better. We've Optima primer, we've Merca'd it, we've filled it, we've put a coat of Optiva 5 over the walls just to make a better base for the dark colour that's going on. Also, it helps me when I've gone round with the filler. I'm just going to go over with the sandpaper. I might actually use the Merca. Shall I use the Merca and show you how to do it? I think I can do that. I can show you how to work a Merca. How good am I to you? Thumbs up, comments, press the like button. So that's where we are. and then we're going to get some paint out, and then I'm going to show you how to paint a wall. And that's what you're here to see. So if you've stuck with me as long as this, you're going to stick me till the end, aren't you? Thanks. Let's get on to this. Right, I'm going to put you onto my stand. I'm just going to show you how to do the marker. There'll be a bit of noise. I'll clamp you in from here. Might even move you back. Right, if you think I'm doing the markering wrong, comments. Tell me how I should be markering a wall better than I'm markering it. Right, let's get you straight. Cut you back, I might move you backwards. Yeah. Let's get you there. Get you focused. Can you see that there? There's a crack that goes all the way down. It's been filled multiple times and it still keeps coming. Now hopefully this wall will be papered at a later date. So my suggestion is, because they've got historic problems with cracks and it's a new build, that wall, before I put any wallpaper on, I'd line it. Now I'd line it, let's bring it back into focus. I'd line it with a wall rock, the fibre lining paper, that if there is cracks like that, it'll hold it off. Obviously if there's subsidence cracks, it's not gonna hold off the subsidence cracks, but that is just, I think, new build moving, fingers crossed. But that wall, before I do any wallpaper, would have a wall rock fibre liner. Other brands are available. Wall rock's really good. It's a paste the wall or even paste the paper. You can hang it vertically, horizontally. You can paint over it if you wanted, or hang wallpaper, but that would be wall rocked because of that crack, and that would also go round into that room area in there that's going to have a paper. So if we do left to right or right to left, depending, so it'll be papered in there. So back onto the markering. Let's focus you back in onto the wall. I'll get the marker out. There'll be a bit of noise. Get you straightened up. And I'll just show you how I marker that down. Don't forget, I've already markered it, so it's only just going over these little bits of filler. Now I've got a worn 120 now, so I'm not going to be looking at taking any of the paint off the wall. I'm just going to nib down these filler spot areas there. And don't forget, I told you before, you can spot prime those so they don't show as flashing when you come to do your emulsioning. So let's get that. We're going to get the marker. This is a Mercolaros sanding pad. The hose has dropped off. Put it on the wall before you turn it on. We're good to go. That's the boring bit done for you. And I say we're doing extreme painting. This is the Phil Beckwith Professional Painter and Decorator Extreme Painting of Emulsion Wall. Yeah, I've just gone over that really quickly with the marker. I've gone over where the filler is, so I've got those down. It's actually nice and smooth now. And this is extreme because in an ordinary house, you wouldn't need to be going over the walls as many times as that to get a near perfect finish. This job's priced we've allowed for this sort of preparation on the surfaces. The woodwork sprayed 4 coats, nibbing down between coats, ceilings nibbed down with Merkers. It's all allowed for, it's been accepted, and that's why we're working to this standard, because we're working to a higher standard than what a lot of people would probably be expecting or would accept, but that's just us. So we've Merkered that down, we've got it nice and smooth. When I've got the paint on the go, I can just touch in those areas, spot prime, then I'll show you how to cut in at the top and show you how to roll professionally. I won't show you 2 coats of doing the same thing, I'll show you 1 coat. The 1 coat won't cover over that straight away, it will need to, but you will see what I'm doing and how to roll a wall professionally. Dead easy, anybody can do it. After this instruction on the video, you'll be doing it too, just like me. So, see you in a bit. I'm back, can you see what I've done? There you go, I've spot primed all that filler. That's just drying off. I thought, well, that's just waiting. Something really simple that didn't cross my mind. Some people might not know how to load a roller sleeve, i.e. a roller, from a paint bucket, stroke scuttle. So I'm going to show you how I do it. So I'm going to spin you down, zoom you in, focus you, there you go. I'm going to angle it round so you can see me, yeah. I'm working off one side of the roller bucket, scuttle. I can work off 2, that side I've not used. Let's move you back. But there's my roller, I'm just bedding it in because I've not used it on the wall yet. Let's get it in. Now what I do, I'll do it in slow-mo. Let's do slow-mo. I actually roll down, I don't know whether you can see it as well. I roll down and let the roller sleeve just touch the top of the paint, then pick it up and then roll it onto the back surface. So in effect, I'm rolling the back surface like a wall. And every so often, I go back down, touching the paint and rolling back up. That starts to fill. Can you see? I'm fill. Not that, I'm fill. This fills the sleeve up with paint. What I'm not doing is, which I see a lot of people do, is dunking it straight in and then rolling it back up. You'll find that they'll get it all over the roller. So if you actually work your way down gently, as somebody said to me, treat it like a woman, carefully and gently. I know it's sexist, but I mean, that's something old-fashioned. Go down, touch the surface of the paint and bring it up. And I keep doing that until the actual roller is actually loaded. So let's focus in on me. So I'm here, that's now loaded up and that's ready to go on the wall. So let's get some paint on the wall. So I'll stop you there. Now this is going to be really difficult. Really difficult because I'm trying to talk to you, hold a camera, and we'll prepare our steps. I've got my paint. I'm working from one side of the kettle again. That's how you do it, one side of the kettle. And I've got to go around cutting in. I've just started there, and I'm just going to explain the process of cutting in. I know it's simple to some, and I'm not trying to get you sucking eggs, you know, grandma sucking eggs, but let me just explain a few things, because I've seen a few TikTok videos and bits and pieces where I've seen people going around, they're cutting in, then they're going around with a little roller about this big and going over what they've just cut in. And in 31 years of decorating, I've never ever done that. I've never needed to do that. I think I understand why they're doing it. It's because they think that the orange peel, the texture of the roller, is going to give them a picture frame look when it's all dried. When you do cutting in properly, it doesn't work like that. If you've got your paint consistency right and you've got your paint, a nice quality paint, you're not going to see a difference between cutting in and the roller. And I'm going to explain to you what I do going around the top there. Oh, let's come back. Cutting in with a brush. And then when I come to do the rolling, and I'll explain with the roller, what I'm doing, that you don't need to be doing all that faffing little rollers, cutting it all in like a rad roller. You don't need to do it. So I'll explain now what I'm going to do. It's going to be a bit difficult, and I'm obviously on camera. I've got to get it right. I'll get it right first time, obviously. Smash the like button, comment. But if I explain to you here while I'm holding it before I get the brush, that base coat that I put on, if you see up there, I didn't go, because this is proper plaster coving, I didn't go all the way up to the bottom edge there because I didn't want to catch it. I didn't want to catch it because I've got a different colour that will be the final colour. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting in as neat as I can with this first coat. Now, to the trained eye, you'll probably say, Phil, it looks like a greyhound's back leg. It doesn't quite look like a greyhound's back leg, but it's not the finished coat. So I'm not being as neat as what I need to be, because what I need to do is, up on here, I need to start the line. So I start the line going round on the first coat. Then when I come to the second coat, I can see where I need to be, whether I need to put a bit better neatness to it or up and down. I can alter it as I come with my second coat. So the first coat won't be as neat as what I do for the second coat. And when I mean neat, obviously I'm always working neat, but it's critical. I'm not being as critical with the cutting in on the first coat like I am here to doing my second coat. Now if you look at the work I've done elsewhere, you can't see it on the camera too far away off. See if I can zoom in. Can we focus on that? No, we can't. I did the same principle there. I go around with the first coat, I get it as neat as I can. I don't worry if it's a little bit wavy, because when I come around for the second coat, I can neaten it up, and that's what I mean about being critical and being neat. Second time around, I can just neaten it up. Obviously, don't go on to the bottom edge of the coving. I'm not doing that. I'm just going up as near as I can. So when I come around to the second coat, I can just neaten myself back up. So that's quite acceptable. Right, back to the painting. I'm going to swap hands and we'll see how we go. I don't want to drop this. It's a bit of an expensive camera. It's going to be a nice little one. Right, so, oh shit. I'm taking, can you see me? I'm taking paint from one side of the kettle. I'm just putting enough on. Just enough on. And then I'm coming up to the top. This is where I could drop you. Right. Right. I'll come back to you in a minute. I'm back again. We had a little bit of an issue with the battery running out. So, right, where was I? I was saying about, I've got the paint on the brush. I've not put too much on. It's just the tips. So let's see if we can do this holding a camera. Where I'm there, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. I might have to talk to you. I'm going up. I'm starting quite low down. Let's get you. I'm starting quite low down and I'm working up to the line. I don't know whether you can see it. I'm getting the bristles. I'll exaggerate it lower down. I'm pressing down like that, and if you can see, I can get a straight line going like that. So that straight line is what I'm wanting to do up there. Obviously, I don't do this when I'm doing the proper wall. This is for instructional purposes only. I'm going onto the wall. So I can actually cut a straight line in like that. So a bit more paint. And the idea is I'm trying to get that straight line underneath the bottom edge of the coving. So if I can do it, I'll show you, let's see. Working my way up to it. Holding my breath. So that's not bad at all. Probably doesn't look so good where you are, but where I am, that's pretty good. So I'm working my way up. I'm working my way up because I'm pushing paint onto the surface that I'm going to push into that bottom edge. So it's a bit wavy there, I'm not worried. I'm feathering it into there, look. Right, if you can see that, it's not that straight. Well, to me, it looks a little bit uneven, but that doesn't matter because that unevenness, when I come back for the second coat, I can neaten all that up. Because I've not gone, let's see if we can do it here. Work both sides of the brush. Can you see me? It's a bit awkward. Both sides of the brush, the tips of the bristles are creating your line. It is actually quite straight. I'm going all the way along. You can see that. Now let's get back to where people go with a little roller. Now I've got that on there. I'm going to put a little bit more paint on because obviously my roller will come up to here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a bit more paint on. This is where you're cutting in. Right, just lay it off slightly, and then with nothing on the brush, I'm going to feather that edge off. So look, just feather it out. Feather it and gently feather it. So nothing too heavy. I've got no fatty edges of paint, and you know what I mean by fatty edges. If you don't know what I mean by fatty edges, ask me below. I feathered that out. Now when I come with the roller, I'll roll onto that, but as I push up, I'm actually doing it quite gently. So as the roller goes over there, it doesn't leave me a fat edge because I've not got loads of paint going onto it. And I'll explain that when I come to showing you with the roller. So for now, that's cutting in. I don't know whether you can see it, that's not bad at all. And as I say, I can neaten that up with the second coat because I've got the line virtually there. I know where I've got to go, and second coat, I can just go back across that, which I will do, back across second coat, just to neaten it up. And then if you actually look from down below, let's go down. Right. If you're at floor level, let's try and focus in on that. Can I focus? That's not bad at all. It looks a bit uneven to me because I know what I'm looking for, but as I say, when I come back to that second coat, that's going to be ideal. And again, I'll just go over it again, what I'm just saying. I'm feathering it. I'm not putting a fat edge. I'm not putting a load of paint round there. I'm not putting loads of paint on with the brush. I'm putting it on, cutting it in, and then with the next to nothing on the brush, I'm feathering it out. So I feathered it out, and the roller will go over that, and that's what you want to be doing, feathering. Don't waste your time going around with a little roller, because all you're doing is just double coating all the time. But you're actually double coating what you're cutting in. So let's leave that for now. I've shown you how to cut in. You get the idea. Any questions, ask. I'll get it all cut in, and then I'll get the roller going. Now, one thing I've missed out on, because I've done spraying, I've got tape. I've got tape around all my woodwork. You'll go, oh, Phil, that's like an amateur. No, it's not. I've been doing taping because I've been spraying. Now, I want to show you how sharp an edge I can get. That's what we want. We want sharp edges. Yes, I can cut in with a brush, but on this sort of work, I want sharp, clean edges, and I can get that. I don't get any tape pulling any paint off. If there is little bits, and I have got a little bit there, just because of how the wood was, I can actually touch it in. You see that? But for now, that's it, and I'll get cut in, and then we'll do some rollering. Right, students, you can see here I've cut in. I've cut in down the bottom, I've cut in across the bottom as well. So, sorry, cutting across the bottom, cutting the sides, cutting the top. Now, after I left you from the last time where I was struggling holding the camera, trying to get paint on the brush and cutting at the same time, once I put the camera down and got back into my stride of painting, I moved up a step on the step ladders, and then obviously I could see it's a lot easier, got a nice load on the brush, cut in nicely, again worked my way up to the line and did one clean cutting in one go, which I've actually taken photos, so when I edit this I'll add the photos into the previous section, and you'll see it's actually a lot straighter than what I was trying to do holding the camera, standing on the step not high enough, so I can get it straight and a lot neater. But again, my second time of going around for the second coat, it will just be neatened up because it'll flow nicely because you're going over the same paint that you've put on. Obviously that's common sense, and you'll find that you can neaten up on the second time. Now what I'm going to do now is just plain and simple explain about rolling. Now I'll tell you now how I roll, and then when you see me doing it, it'll all make sense. I load the roller up like I've shown you. I load the roller up to the paint, not putting the roller into the paint. I'll start in the middle. Now the roller will be loaded with paint. I put it on the middle section there, and I work up. This is good. I'll work up to the top. Now I use these rollers, a single arm roller. Now you'll say, Phil, why aren't you using a wider roller? Why aren't you using a double arm roller? I'll tell you why. Because when I come up to the sides and the edges, because the pressure that I'm putting on the roller goes down that arm, the main pressure is on that section there. So that section there isn't getting the pressure on the surface. So when I come up to the corners, let's move that. When I come up to the edges there and go up and down, there's not as much paint pressure being applied to the edges, so I don't get an edge of paint giving a tram line because the pressure's there. So if that seems complicated, have I explained it right? I'm only rolling. How hard can it be? So what I'm doing is I'm applying the pressure on this section there. There'll be less pressure there, so that means I can feather the roller out, and that's why you don't see me getting tram lines. Some colours you might see it more because they're darker and not so good paint. So the principle is a single arm roller. What sleeve's that? Is it 9, 12 inch? Can't remember. 12 inch, aren't they? Yeah, 12 inch. We'll roll that from the middle up, and as I get to the top, I'm not applying the pressure so much, so I'm not oozing paint out the roller to the top, and that's where I can feather out against that feathered in edge that I've done with the cutting in. Then I come back down, applying a bit more pressure from the middle, there you go, and then I go down to the bottom. So that section there will have more applied pressure than I do at the bottom. Does that make sense? Give us some comments. So I'm starting in the middle with a reservoir of paint, pushing the paint up, and as I get nearer to the top, I'm applying less pressure. Up to the top and then back down again with more pressure, less pressure. Back up, and then I work up and down like that. Now you're doing it in stripes. I'll say it in stripes, up and down, up and down. Now you might feel you can go up and down in one go, or you might just do half a section. Doesn't matter, you've got to get the end result. So you might start halfway, do half a section, and then come back down. Don't let it go off on you. Now, I'm talking to you, and that is going off. These, what I've cut in now, are called wet edges. You're doing one wall at a time. Don't fall into the trap of being the amateur, going around every wall, cutting it in, then rolling, because that's where people are getting this picture framing effect. I might get a slight picture frame on this because I'm obviously talking to you, that's drying off. The picture framing comes when you're cutting in, dries off, then you come with your paint, with your roller, that's where, and then you'll suddenly see a pattern around the edges. Flashing, picture framing, whatever you want to call it. I don't get that. If I was cutting in and rolling this wall, it'll all be done within minutes. Won't take long at all. Say 10 minutes, cut in, roll it, another 5, dead easy. I don't know how long. I'm just giving you times. That's drying off on me now, not what I want. What you want is wet edges. You want to be working up with your roller to a wet edge on you. There you go, a wet edge actually onto your cutting in. And normally if you do one wall at a time, you're keeping wet edges going, and that's the term wet edge. So I'm going to show you now. Yeah, that's going off on you. Well, I'll focus in on the wall so you can see me. This is dead boring to those that know, probably dead boring to those that don't know, but I'm going to show you. Right, I'm going to load my roller up, I'm going to put my roller pole on, and I'll show you what I'm going to do, and I'll get it all done. Probably when I edit it, I might zip through it, or I might subject you to a couple of minutes of rolling. Let's see. Get the wall in focus, yeah. Right, screwing it in. Give it a good screw in so it's tight. You don't want it loose, make sure it's tight. Now my roller's still wet, I'm going to load a little bit more onto it. So, yeah. I'll try and do it so you can see me the best. Right, starting with the middle, down, working your way across, rolling it out. And then I'm putting the pressure on to go up to the top. Now, I'm up at the top now, I'm not putting so much pressure on. So I'm rolling down, up, working it up. Let's bring you a bit closer on this now. get you in. You see how that's... Can you see how that's rolling out? It's one of those funny colours that doesn't cover very well. So I've rolled to the top and I've gone on to what I've cut in. Can you see me? I'll do it in halves because the camera's not picking up. Gently at the top, heavier at the bottom. Let's do a bit more. Heavy, heavy, gentle. Back down, up and down. A little bit like a V and a W. Gentle, gentle, roll it down. Not applying too much I'm not applying too much pressure on the downstrokes when I come down. Once it's flowed out, not too much pressure. I'm going to do the bottom section now. There. Now where the join is, across the middle, just feather it back out with your roller, gently, up and down, gently, up and down, feather it gently. That'll stop you getting banding. So, can you see the basic principle of what I've done? And again, if I was doing this in real time, doing it as a live job, not that it's not a live job now, I'd go across quite quickly. So let's get this section done in one go. Just loading up the roller, plenty of paint on it. Start with the middle, I'll do the bottom to the top. Gently at the top. Bit more pressure coming down. Down. Gently. You can see you see these skins in the paint? That's not good, so get rid of those as you see them. Top to bottom up, top, bottom. Pressure reduces as you get to where your cutting in is. Now you can see, hopefully, single arm, I'm actually going up against the wall edge. Let's focus on me again. Going up against that corner wall edge with that side of the roller, which is actually not having too much pressure pushed onto it, so I'm not getting a fat edge of paint, doing it gently. So focus your back. Focus your back on me. Right, that's a boring bit of 10 minutes of me talking how to do a wall, but I hope I've explained it all right. If you look, let's stand further back so we can get a good wide angle. I'm glad we've used this sort of paint because it shows you how it covers. Doesn't cover brilliantly. Don't forget it's over a bit of a dark colour, but I wanted to explain how the principle worked, and you can actually see pattern staining because obviously these spots here have had 2 coats compared to only 1. But the principle is load your roller up, get it in the middle, put plenty on, roll it up to the top, putting less pressure on so you're not putting thick fatty edges of paint up at the top, bringing it down back to the bottom, and then keep a motion top to bottom all the way along. There might be some instances that you have to turn your roller on the side because it's easier to work your roller the opposite way than the vertical, use it horizontally. But I think we've really gave you some extreme painting. The extreme painting, I've gone over the top with the prep and the sanding down. It's having more coats than you possibly need to, but the finish we'll get, and this is a wall that I've already finished, again you're not really going to see it, is spot on, and this is what you want from your jobs. We don't want to be doing cheap cheerfuls, do we? We don't want to be doing 120 quid a day work. We want to be doing top end work. Top end work needs good preparation, and this is where I'm coming from. You've got to work smarter, not harder. Get all the tools. You've got the markers, you've got the decent quality paint. We spoke about this before on previous videos. If you've not seen some of the other videos, go back and watch them. But that is the basic principle of an emulsion in a wall. And I know you'll go, we know all about it, but yeah, this is how I'm doing it. This will have another coat, hopefully it covers. If it doesn't cover because it is an awkward colour, it'll have another coat because it'll need it. But for now, I'm going to say thanks for listening to me. I've been talking about painting a wall, which is really riveting, isn't it? Really riveting. But you can still give us a thumbs up, give us some comments. You've got to smash that like button and subscribe. Got to smash it, that's what my kids say. And I think for now, that'll do you. I'll add some photos of the cutting in when I edit the video, but for now, you've got the basic principles of how to cut in a wall and roll it, doing it the right way, as a professional. Have I told you how many years I've been doing painting and decorating? Yeah, 1990 after I left school, so do the maths. And that's where we are with it. But as you can see, we're not on a little job. This is actually the basement of the house. I'll just pan round. We've got a living room down there. We've got a staircase that's going in. We've got drop ceilings, all with the prep that's required. This is going to be a nice little cosy snug with that chandelier. There's a bar area. It's a lovely house, and it's having the top quality paints on it. So thanks for listening to me. Thumbs up, over and out.